Hello and welcome. My name is Lori Hendren, Associate State Director for AARP Illinois. I want to welcome you to this very important live virtual legislative town hall about policy and budget issues important to Illinoisans 50 plus. This event will go into depth on the issues you and your family care about the most: lowering the cost of prescription drugs, improving the quality of care in nursing homes, the impact of high energy prices, expanding options for home and community-based services, protecting financial and retirement security, and rebuilding America's workforce, and so much more over the next 30 minutes. And now I would like to introduce AARP Illinois' Volunteer State President, Al Hollenbeck.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Al Hollenbeck. I'm proud to serve as AARP Illinois Volunteer State President. AARP, a nonprofit, nonpartisan member organization, has been working to promote the health and well-being of older Americans for more than 60 years. AARP is proud to represent all those who are 50 plus in Illinois and our 1.7 million members. And we thank you for the opportunity to be your wise friend and fierce defender. AARP's mission is to enhance the quality of life for all as we age, leading positive social change and delivering value to our members through advocacy, service, and information. AARP works tirelessly to fulfill the vision of a society in which everyone lives their best life with dignity and purpose, and in which people can fulfill their goals and dreams. Today's virtual town hall would not be possible without the long-standing collaboration with Peoria's own Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at Bradley University, under the gifted leadership of Michelle Riggio and the executive director of the Institute of Principled Leadership and Public Service at Bradley University, Brad McMillan. AARP Illinois is also grateful for the elected officials and you, the viewer, joining us today who bring your passion, ideas, and willingness to work to improve the lives of older adults. Critical conversations like these are the first step in finding real solutions to the concerns of those 50 plus and their families in Illinois. And now I'm proud to introduce today's moderator, Brad McMillan.
Thank you, Al and Lori and AARP Illinois, OLLI and Bradley University. It's great to be with you this morning. And today we are live with esteemed congressional, state, and local elected officials. Joining us from the 17th Congressional District is Congresswoman Cheri Bustos, whose district ranges from Peoria to the Quad Cities to Rockford, and also much rural area and smaller communities like Canton and Kewanee. She has been, in my view, a tremendous congressional representative for Central Illinois. And it's great to have you with us this morning, Congresswoman Bustos, and we'll let you say some opening remarks.
Great. Thanks a lot, Brad. Really appreciate it. And Lori from AARP and Bradley. And then I know you're going to be introducing Mayor Ali and Representative Luft in just a little bit, but really, really nice to be with everybody. I'm always excited to be with AARP members. I am 60 years old now, so this is like, these are my peeps. And, just very briefly, for just going on a decade, I've been lucky enough to be able to represent our part of the Midwest. And I am not running for re-election, so I'm gearing up for my own personal next challenge. But I can tell you this, I've got about, up until January 3rd left. I'm going to obviously complete my full term. And I promise you I will keep my foot on the pedal. And we will keep doing everything we can to represent the people in our part of the state of Illinois. So thanks to all of you guys for working with me for the last 10 years. We've been able to work together to protect Social Security, We've been able to work together to expand access to affordable health care. We've been able to work together to invest in programs that are important to folks in our part of the country, especially when we look at things like expanded telehealth, when we look at what we're doing with broadband. You know, we are not too far off from having high-speed internet access in every corner of the state of Illinois, in every corner of the country. So, you know, if you're in a part that it's hard to get to the doctor, if you live in more of a rural community, we're going to be able to deliver healthcare in a new way. So we know that there are really some unprecedented challenges that we have that we have in front of us. We know that there's work that we're still going to have to do. But we now have historic investments that we've been able to make in our communities. And I'm actually a little bit of breaking news, and what we can get into this in a little bit. But it was just over the last 24 hours that we've been able to announce that we've got this new inflation reduction plan. And this is going to be a way that we can make prescription drugs even more affordable. That we're going to be able to bring down those costs, that we're going to be able to make health insurance more affordable, that we're going to be able to invest in new ways of delivering energy. So, and a couple other things worth noting. This is actually going to reduce the deficit. And if you live in a family, as part of a family where you make less than $400,000 a year, this will not cost you anything as far as your taxes. So I think these are all things that we can talk about over the next hour or whatever we have together. But I'm really, really excited about what's happening here in Washington. I am in Washington, D.C. right now. And so we've got a lot of work to do, but I think we also have a lot of good announcements ahead.
Thank you, Congresswoman Bustos. Now it's my honor to introduce State Representative Mark Luft, who serves the 91st District in Central Illinois. His district includes portions of Tazewell, Fulton, and Peoria counties. I've grown to respect Representative Luft. I know he does his best in serving the people of Central Illinois. And he also is mayor of the city of Pekin. So he's a busy guy. And so welcome, Representative Luft, and we'll let you say a few opening comments.
Thank you, Brad, and good morning to everybody. I'm very excited to be here and help in any manner that I can. Yes, I am very busy, and I feel blessed to hold these two positions. It gives me a much larger arena to reach out and help people, and I've enjoyed doing that immensely, both at a state level to help with our elderly and do the right thing, and same as mayor. As mayor for our community, I'm able to, with ordinances and policies, structure them in a way that provides help and programs for our elderly. And I also, as being mayor, restructured a committee of ours that we're in the middle of right now for community help, including the elderly. And 2 years ago, when I was sworn as state rep, I declined my salary as mayor, and that salary now goes to that program to help. So I'm here to support. I will not be back the next session, but as mayor and an advocate for the elderly, I will continue to work with my successor to ensure the right things are done here in this district, in my community. So I look forward to it. I'm here to help. Anytime that I can be with Mayor OLLI and Congressman Bustos to move something forward, it's a privilege to me. I've worked with them in the past, and I enjoy working for them and the good hearts they have. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Representative Luft. And now it's my honor to introduce the mayor of Peoria, Dr. Rita OLLI. She was the first woman and first African-American to be elected mayor of the city of Peoria. Prior, she to winning the mayoral race, Dr. OLLI served as Vice President of Workforce and Diversity at Illinois Central College for 17 years. And most importantly to me, she's a Bradley University graduate and alumni. So we're always thrilled to tout that because we're very proud of her and her great work in public service. So good morning, Mayor OLLI, and we'll let you say a few opening words.
Thank you, Brad. I'm delighted to join everyone. Always happy to share and communicate with the OLLI group and my alma mater, Bradley University. So happy to also join Lori and the AARP group and my friends, Congresswoman Bustos and Representative Mayor Luft. I'm a proud member of the senior community too. And Sherry, I didn't know that you had reached the 6-0 number. Welcome to the club. I'm 64, so I am part of this community. AARP, I know, starts at 50. I got my card when I was 50 years old. But I'm a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother of all girls. Girls just rule in my family. I'm also the daughter of an aging mother who is 85 years old and still going strong. I was the caretaker of my uncle who's 94. Longevity lives in our family, but he recently passed away a long, good life. I recognize the needs of the aging population, both personally and in my role as mayor of the city of Peoria. City of Peoria has a population of 113,200. That's as of the 2020 census. And about a quarter of those people, individuals, are 50 and above. We have about a quarter of the population that's below 18 and about a quarter of the population that's 50 and above. And of that 50 and above, about 15% of those are ages 65 and higher. And, you know, we all know as we get older, our needs increase in certain areas, especially in the areas of healthcare. But there's other needs that we have to recognize for older populations, and those are social needs and housing needs, and the need to connect and to be connected with resources and with other people and individuals. I want to share very briefly that when I got elected mayor and sworn in May, one of the first things that I did was put together a transition team, people that can help to provide me some support and guidance and to share their talents and their wisdom. And of those 6 people, 5 of them were retired individuals. And, you know, I thought about that later, that I was really drawing on the wisdom of older individuals to help to support me. And so I think, you know, we have to recognize the talents and the skills that older individuals have and how they can play a huge role in our community and serving on various commissions or advisory teams. And my transition team went from a transition team to serving now as my advisory team in this role as mayor. And lastly, I just want to share an article that I had read a number of years ago. And it was about this extensive research that was done that indicates that the most productive ages in life is between 60 and 70. The most productive years in a human life are found between 60 and 70. And there's a lot more to that article, but I thought that was pretty interesting. So those are my opening remarks. I'm really happy to be here.
Mayor OLLI, I greatly appreciate the comments that you've just made. I just turned 60 in November, so the idea that I'm just entering the most productive decade of my life sounds very good to me. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So now we're going to get to asking some questions of our esteemed elected officials. Also, if you're participating, you can enter questions that you might want to ask on Facebook, and we'll get to those as well in the time that we have. First, I want to ask. We're going to jump to Congresswoman Bustos and get her back on here. Okay. So after years of discussion and negotiation, Congress is finally on the cusp of delivering real prescription drug relief for millions of older Americans. The budget reconciliation bill before the Senate includes 3 key AARP priorities. Finally allowing Medicare to negotiate the price of drugs, capping out-of-pocket prescription drug costs in Medicare B Part D at $2,000 a year, and holding drug companies accountable when they increase drug prices faster than the rate of inflation. So, and I know you talked about some breaking news on some even further developments that are happening out in Washington, D.C. So what's your hope as to how this will play out in Congress in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, well, thank you, Brad. I appreciate you asking that. And before we all got on this Zoom today, I said, yeah, we really do have some great breaking news. This was just announced in less than the last 24 hours that on the Senate side, they finally the leadership with Leader Chuck Schumer, and then you guys probably have heard the name Senator Joe Manchin a few times. He's critical to this because if we don't get 50 votes, then we can't pass something that's called under reconciliation. It's kind of like a long word that just means that you have to have all 50 Democrats be able to support something, or it's not going to happen. We are not going to, at this point, we don't know if we'll have any Republican votes. So you got to get under this procedure in the Senate. We've got to be able to get all 50. So having kind of the making sure that Senator Manchin's on board is critical, or we won't be able to get this through. On the House side, I feel a lot more confident to be able to pass it. So here's what this includes. It would make prescription drugs cheaper. Why? How would that happen? Well, by law right now, Medicare is not allowed to negotiate lower prices. Under this bill, Medicare would be able to negotiate lower prices. Also, we'll be able to have lower health insurance costs for, get this, 13 million Americans now will have lower costs by an average of $800 a year. And that's all through the Affordable Care Act. And then also at a time when we've got way too many people who are struggling for just so many things. You put all this together, we'll have seniors who are going to be able to afford their prescription drugs. You're going to have a lot more Americans who are going to be able to save money on healthcare. So for those reasons, Brad, I'm very, very excited about the prospects here. The whole goal, though, got to get it out of the Senate, got to get it out of the House and send it to President Biden to be signed into law. And I think with this announcement overnight, we've got some good news ahead.
Well, we all wish you the very best in getting this across the finish line. I don't know how long we've been talking about the high cost of prescription drugs and the importance of finally addressing it, but it's encouraging that we're seeing some significant progress in the negotiations, and I'm going to think real positive thoughts that we get this across the finish line. So now I'm going to turn to Representative Luft. Nearly 1.5 million Illinois family caregivers are providing $17 billion annually in unpaid care to their older parent, spouse, or other loved one. These caregivers on average spend nearly 26% of their income providing this care. AARP Illinois endorses and has filed a family caregiver income tax credit bill, House Bill 4771, that would provide up to $1,500 in tax credits for family caregivers only if the Illinois Department on Aging certifies eligible caregiving expenses. And AARP would like to know if you would consider supporting this measure and how you feel about this issue.
I absolutely would support that. And this issue is important to me. I have a 26-year-old daughter who is mentally and physically handicapped. She is not elderly, but as far as the caregiver aspect of it, my household is very familiar with that. She's 26. She has the capability of anywhere from 3 to 5 years old. So it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of coordination in the household, and the expense is there as well to make sure that she is taken care of properly. So I completely understand that. My mother was a caregiver for years. My grandmother lived to be 107 years old. So you can imagine the cost of helping my grandmother, who lived on Social Security, of about $850 for most of her life, and the importance of that care to her. So I would be more than happy to sponsor that. I did want to make a comment on the prescription part that Congressman Bustos had mentioned. There are also issues, not just with prescriptions, but the denial of any support in certain prescriptions. And we have to work with the insurance companies with compound medications. There was a point years ago where insurance companies stopped covering compound medications because they would not pay for what they considered the fillers in the compound medication, not the medication itself, but the few substances that it took to blend that medication together. So that's something else, an area that's not talked about a lot. And I have that with my daughter as well. So compound medications are not covered by insurance, and those have to be paid out of pocket, and that's something we have to go back and look at. But as I said in the beginning, I am here to help. As long as I'm here, that's what I will do, and I'd be more than happy to support that bill.
Thank you so much, Representative Luft. And now for Mayor OLLI, have a question for you. AARP's 2021 Home and Community Preferences Survey affirms that more than 3/4 of people aged 50 and older want to age in their existing home and/or community. But the question is whether or not there'll be the housing options that are needed for that to happen. And in order to prevent affordable housing solutions for our older Peorians. So if you could just talk a little bit about your vision, I'm sure you would love to see a lot of older Peorians stay in the community. That's one of the reasons we love OLLI, is because I think we have a program here at Bradley that really, where they can stay active and engaged. But if you could talk a little bit about your vision for older Peorians staying in the community and housing options.
Sure. Well, Brad, there's no place like home. And, as people get older, they still like to stay in their home. They prefer not to be in a nursing facility. Oftentimes, they may want to become part of a senior community, but again, they want to live in their own home. I shared that I have an 85-year-old mother. I'd love for her to join me in my home, but she doesn't want to be in my home. She wants to stay in her own home, which she does on the south side of Peoria. And because that's where she's been for so many years, that's where she's comfortable. But I recognize as people get older, they may have some additional needs, and that's where the resources come in. We have individuals that are in homes that have roofs that need replaced. They have windows sometimes that need replaced that can help, with the energy bills to reduce their costs. We have resources in our community that can assist with some of those needs. Some individuals, as they age, may have some access needs in terms of a ramp required for wheelchair access or better access to your home. There are programs that will actually assist with some of those needs in building a ramp onto a home. So modifications can be made with the use of resources, and I'm a big advocate for providing those resources to our senior community, our individuals that have disabilities, making sure that we're providing those supports and connecting that funding and resources, and making sure that they know that those resources are available. And that's where that connectivity comes in, is making sure that the information is shared with individuals within the community. So, where there might be an opportunity to be more flexible with some coding, some codes or regulations, I think that we have to be flexible there in making sure that we're providing the housing needs that our older population has. Peoria has been named one of the most affordable places to live in the country, not the state, but within the country. So, U.S. News and World Report representative. So, I'm proud of that. And we have a lot of housing options for seniors, but we can have more. I would like to see more senior centers that allow people to come together, because when they come together and socialize, they also share information about resources and opportunities.
So we have a question that has surfaced on Facebook, Congresswoman Bustos, that I thought we'd go ahead and address, because it's what we've already talked about. But the individual wants to know whether the latest Senate Democratic plan to lower prescription drugs has the support of Senator Manchin.
Yes, it was actually Senator Manchin and Leader Schumer, the top member of the U.S. Senate, who negotiated this. Why that's important is because we cannot lose one vote on whatever comes out of the Senate. If we lose one vote, it doesn't pass. So under the Senate rules, if we are not going to get any bipartisan support, then we have to have all 50 Democrats who are supportive. So rather than work something out and then see if Senator Manchin, or for that matter, Senator Sinema out of the state of Arizona, that they'll come on board, we're kind of doing it in reverse order and making sure that from the start that they are at the negotiating table, that they negotiate it, and then we have everybody else come along. Now, that said, President Biden also has said that he is fully supportive of this. So I think this will pass out of the Senate. It will pass out of the House, and President Biden will sign it into law. So we're in session all of this week. And then, as probably many of you know who follow Congress, we are not in session. We're all in our home districts for the state for the month of August. And there's a chance that we will be called back to vote on this and then send it over to President Biden. So, but I have hope that we will get this done as soon as possible, and then we will get this signed into law as soon as possible.
Great, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, another issue that is top of mind with voters, and AARP just did a recent poll of likely voters 50 and older. The number one issue on everybody's mind is inflation, and we're all being hit hard by that. And so, what are your thoughts on what can be done at the federal, state, and local levels to help with the inflation issue?
Do you want me to start on that, Brad?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, so just this week, out here in Washington, in the House, we're going to pass something that is called the CHIPS and Science Act. Now, that sounds like, okay, well, why am I starting out with that as far as addressing inflation? But it's a bipartisan package. I'll tell you why it matters. In this bill, it invests in lowering costs for Americans. So how does it do that? Well, at least it will make progress toward ending our dependence on foreign manufacturers. I mean, we can almost call this the Make It in America Act. So it will bring jobs home to America. It will lessen our reliance on places like China for these semiconductors. You know, we've had a problem with our manufacturing because we rely on China. We rely on other countries for things that make our cars, our American-made cars, get off the manufacturing lot. So it will lower costs for American consumers by investing in making these critical things like semiconductor components in America. And then just yesterday, we announced what we call our people, the Democrats announced what we call our people over politics agenda. So we're going to stay hyper focused on lowering the prices on our grocery store aisles, lowering the price of gasoline. We've got this new agenda where we're talking about making sure that we stay relentlessly focused on bringing down the cost. Part of it is we've got this Affordable Insulin Now Act. So what that would do is cap our out-of-pocket costs for insulin. So anybody who's diabetic, the goal there is that you would not have to pay any more than $35 per month for Medicare Part D and commercial health insurance. We would lower food and fuel costs. That's part of it as well. Since we're from corn country, President Biden has been very good on ethanol and making sure that that's sold throughout the summer months. And so those are just a couple of the ideas where we can help address inflation, the gas prices, and prices at the grocery store.
Thank you very much. Do either Representative Luft or Mayor Ali want to tackle inflation? It's a tough one. Okay, go ahead, Representative Luft. You're still on mute. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, yes, it is a tough one. And I'll start off by saying, with the situation we're in with inflation, when it comes to inflation, this is not something that should have a Democrat or Republican tag on it. This is something that we should be working with together to solve these issues. I do not look at this as a political battle. It should be a battle for all of us to continue to work towards improving the quality of life for everybody. Most people, when they walk out their door in the morning, are not absorbed into politics or the processes. What they're concerned with is when they walk out their door in the morning to head to work or to drop their child off at school or to go take their child to a game, stop at the grocery store, the gas station. These are the things that are important to most people out there, and these are the things that we work on. And at a state level, we rely on the movements of Washington to make moves that help ensure us that we can continue our moves at a state level. And we have to work together in order to do that. There are major issues that come with this. They can be resolved. This is an issue that has a lot of pieces on the table. In order for us to get to where we want to be, we have to be honest and recognize all the pieces on the table that affect this. And as long as we do that and sit down at the table together, we can move forward with this. There are minimal things at a local level that we can do to combat inflation. There are things that we can do at a state level to help, but the major punch that helps us resolve the inflation issues the quickest is at the federal level. So I'm confident that people are listening, that people are giving their input, and I'm confident that we will be able to maneuver out of this and lower inflation and get things back on track. And of course, at a state level and a municipal level, anything that I can do to ensure that that happens, that's what I'm here for. So thank you.
Thanks, Representative Luft. And, those of you who know my work at Bradley, the Institute for Principled Leadership tries to promote bipartisan solutions. And you're so correct, Representative Luft. Inflation is not a partisan issue. It's something that impacts all of us. And the key is to work together across political lines to try to do what's best for the people of our country, our state, and our local communities. And so I appreciate your comments in that regard. Marilee, do you want to weigh in on this at all?
Sure. I would just say, inflation is real. We see it every day in our daily lives. And, people are afraid of what's coming, with the gas prices so high, the energy prices so high. And it definitely will take working together with our legislators on each level, the federal level, the state level, and the local level. But I was really excited when I read about the new legislation, that will reduce healthcare costs and prescription drug costs, because those are real concerns, and those are real costs affecting real people. So I'm very excited about that legislation. I do hope and pray that it does pass fully through Congress. But I want to speak to the resources again that can assist with some of the inflation and the major costs affecting older individuals, and energy assistance programs. We have some of those right here in Peoria. Most of them are run through the Peoria Citizens Committee for Economic Opportunity, or PCCEO. Those are programs that help someone to pay their light and gas bill. We need to make sure that people know about this funding and that they apply for it. Also, food security is a real issue, and we have different programs that will provide, food supplemental food to individuals that need it. And as far as prescription drug costs, hopefully the new legislation will help with that, because seniors, have more of an issue with because we have more we have more drugs that we have to take because we have more medical needs. So those costs, especially if you're on a fixed income, which many people are, that just, takes away from something else. If you're going to pay for prescriptions, then you're not going to pay for something else. So it's real, but it's a matter of, I would say, leveraging our resources and working together.
Thanks a lot, Marilee. So we have another question from Facebook at the local level. And the question is, Marilee and Representative Luff, how can Peoria and Pekin residents 50 plus help work alongside the city governments to expand the community's livability? And how can community members both in Peoria and Pekin 50 plus have a voice with our city governments? I don't know if, Marilee, if you want to jump on that, and then we'll have
Sure.
Mayor.
I mean, we get a lot of input from individuals who are on various commissions. We have commissions that advise the mayor and the council in Peoria. One of those commissions is a commission that is focused on individuals with disabilities and older individuals. And so we get a lot of feedback in terms of the needs of the community, voicing in. I get a lot of emails, over 100 emails a day, and letters from individuals that express their voice and their needs, and we don't ignore those. We give those a high priority and attention. We try to get back with people, but working together, any opportunity to work with my colleagues, mayors in Pekin, East Peoria, Morton, and this region. I'm a part of an organization, Central Illinois Mayors Association, that Mayor Luft is also a part of. So we get together quarterly and we share information and we find ways to work together to support our citizens.
I'm going to call you Mayor Luft for this question.
I couldn't agree more with Marilee. She said it perfect. Our communities have a lot of wisdom and compassion in them. And the more that those individuals step forward for that input and help advise us, the better and the more clear the path becomes that we need to maneuver down to again improve the quality of life in our municipalities and in the region as a whole. I know sometimes as mayors that you tend to focus, and it's easy to do intently on your community. But I do feel it's our job as mayors to work together on behalf as the region as a whole. It's good when your community moves forward and benefits from something, but it's even better when the region as a whole does. If something occurs in Peoria that moves it forward, that's moving Pekin forward as well, and we get a benefit from that. So coordinating between the mayors and communicating with the mayors and all of our advisors and bringing that all to the table, that's what ensures things moving in the right direction as a region as a whole, and it helps move things quicker. As mayor, I don't think there's ever been a council meeting that I have not stated and asked people in the community to please give their input, whether it be through a phone call, email, come to a meeting, text me. Everybody knows my phone runs 24/7, but that input is much needed. And then the next step after the input is when you start receiving that good input, if you can pull that person in that's giving that input to actually step in and help move that input farther, then you get way ahead of the game. And I say this everywhere I go, and I mean this. This region here in Peoria, the last couple years especially, has probably had the best leadership at the table than it has as in a long time as a whole. That doesn't mean we have not had good leaders here in the past, but to have the ones that we do sitting at the table as a whole right now is a huge benefit to this area. And I appreciate the hard work that Mayor OLLI does, that our Congressional does the same here. We have all worked together. Sherry and I have had great conversations. She has helped with my community. She has helped me move things forward. She has always been responsive. The same with the mayors in this area. Whenever I get a chance to speak with Mayor OLLI or see her, it is hard to get the smile off my face because I can see her intent and her passion for her community and for this region. And I say that about a lot of the leaders in this area. So I think we're in a really good place. We should take advantage of it. And we should, while we are here, try to bring as many of those advisors on board with us and keep them committed to helping us move things forward. One person can't do it by themselves, but a village can move mountains. So that's where I stand on that.
Thank you for those comments. And I'm just going to weigh in here on something personally. I'm going to be teaching another OLLI class this fall. I've taught every year that I've been at Bradley, and I love those classes because they're tremendously engaged, and they don't hold any opinions back. And you hear from all sides, and it's just fun. I think the more that we can do to get our citizens that are 50 plus to be engaged and be advocates and be on commissions and all those things, our communities benefit tremendously by that. So Representative Luff, there was something that came up on the Facebook questions that's directed at you that I thought would be good for you to respond to. They're wondering, what is the latest on the grocery and gas sales tax pause in Illinois, and how long will that last?
Well, I can right now, when we left session in April, there were a few small things, relief. Unfortunately, it was not enough. We were not happy. It should have been a lot more. The only thing on the gas tax that was passed was to hold off on a 2.2 cent increase. there should have been a lot more work and a lot more agreement on eliminating part of the gas tax, if not the whole gas tax, for a period of time till we work through this issue. Unfortunately, municipalities, it's harder for them to deliver that kind of punch because a lot of municipalities have a minimal gas tax on the gas, anywhere from maybe 2 to 8 cents a gallon, where the state can deliver a much bigger relief like with that. And it is disappointing that did not work out the way that it should have. And the extension of what they did pass, which was very minimal, and that's just being honest. Unfortunately, the bills that we had created there gave a much longer timeline of relief. The relief bills that did pass will expire January 1st. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is some hope. We will be going back down for special session within the next month, I've been told, and energy and some relief there are to be on the docket. So I hope that after people have had time since we left session that did not support certain tax breaks, we'll reconsider when we come back and do the right thing for the people in the state to get some kind of relief till we can work through this. So yes, currently what is there expires January 1st, which is too soon. Hopefully what Congresswoman Bustos is doing in Washington and supporting will help us in that area as well. So again, it goes back to, unfortunately, there are certain things that do have a party attached to it, and we have got to get past that and understand that there are just some things that have to do with the quality of life for the people in this state, in our counties, in our communities, that we should be working together on. That is very, very important to get to that point.
Thank you for those remarks. And so one more question for Congresswoman Bustos, and then we're going to move on to closing statements for our legislative town hall meeting. Medicare is a vital program that helps older adults and people with a disability pay for needed health care services, but that can't happen unless those people have access to the services needed. Closing the health care coverage gap by including dental, hearing, and vision benefits in Medicare can improve the health outcomes of so many Illinoisans, thereby lowering Medicare spending. Do you support congressional action to cover the health of Medicare beneficiaries fully?
Well, thanks, Brad. And if somebody submitted that question as well, look, we're really hopeful about the breadth of policy expansions that were included in, if you remember, talk about the Build Back Better. But when it passed the House, in part was because it included policies that would have created new benefits under Medicare. And that included dental, that included vision, that included hearing services. Obviously, the political reality in Washington, D.C. is that House Democrats were in the majority. We have a very, very slim majority. And as we talked earlier, it's 50-50 in the Senate. And you would think that would lead to these very good and robust negotiations on getting good programs like that passed. But the political reality is unfortunately that we're not able to get these passed on a bipartisan basis. So, my hope is that we continue to push for inclusion of these provisions in future legislation, but it does require bipartisan support. And right now, for whatever reasons, and those who are on this call can kind of we're in Peoria, you've got a Democrat that represents Peoria, you've got a Republican that represents Peoria. And so you can ask those questions of, on both sides about their support. I support that expansion because I know it's something that's very important. I've got an 88-year-old mother. And, so I know firsthand about the importance of things like dental and vision and hearing, and that those are included. So, but it does require bipartisan support. And unfortunately, right now, we don't have the votes that that would require for that to be passed.
All right, we're at the tail end here of our legislative town hall meeting, and I'll have Mayor OLLI say her closing comments first, then Representative Luft, and then we'll wrap up with Congresswoman Bustos. So Mayor OLLI.
Sure. Thank you. I want to say it's a pleasure to be here today to share information and to join Mayor Luft, Representative Luft, and Representative Bustos. So thank you for having me. I'll just close by saying that, you know, we have a responsibility to support and to protect our senior community. And we're all committed to that, leveraging resources, working together to find ways and to find resources to support this community. I want to end by going back to that study that I had shared about the most productive ages. And just to share a few more highlights of that. So there was this extensive study in the US that found that the most productive age in human life is between 60 and 70 years of age. The second most productive stage of human life is from 70 to 80 years old. And then the third most productive stage is from 50 to 60 years of age. The average Nobel Prize winner is 62 years old. The average age of presidents of prominent companies in the world is 63 years of age. The average age of popes is 76. This tells us in a way that it has been determined that the best years of your life are between 60 and 80 years of age. And there's a study that was published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that at age 60, Sherry, you reach the top of your potential, and this continues into your 80s, Brad. 60, top of your potential. Therefore, if you are between the ages of 60 to 70 or 70 to 80, you are in the best and the second level of your life.
That's great. Love it. All right, Representative Luft.
Yes, thank you for having me. I have to say again, any opportunity that I have to work with or communicate with Congresswoman Bustos and Mayor OLLI, I'm a fan of both in their efforts to help this region, and I say that in a bipartisan manner. I preach a lot about some things should not have party attached to it. And just because of party affiliation does not mean that the person behind that is still not a human being who cares about what they do and works for the things that are important to them, which again, I'm always pushing us working together. So I appreciate that. I also want to say that I consider it a blessing that I've been able to help with the community in the state through being a councilman, being a mayor, being a state representative. And I can assure you after those elected positions are over that I will be one of those advisors that I've been trying to recruit, as we all do, to help continue to move things forward. If I could not get up in the morning and help people, I don't know what I would do with myself. I would be a very grumpy individual. So I will continue to push everywhere I can to make things better for my area, for the state. And the last thing I would like to say is Mayor OLLI said we have an obligation, and we do. And this word is not used a lot, but these generations in front of us, they are the ones that forged the path to get us to where we are now. We are doing the same for the generations behind us, and we have to show that respect. We have to show the appreciation of what they did to help us get here. So I just want to add one word that is personal to me and how I look at this, that yes, we do have an obligation to help our elderly, but we have a moral obligation to do that. It is more than just politics. It is more and bigger, and our youth should pay attention to this. We have a moral obligation to help our seniors and our elderly move forward, to help create quality of life for them, to help provide them the assistance that they need. And that's what I'm here to do. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and wish everybody a blessed day.
Thank you so much, Representative Luft. And last but certainly not least, Congresswoman Bustos.
Thank you, Brad. And let me just start by thanking Bradley, thanking AARP, Lori. I know you're in the background on this Zoom right now, but thank you to you and your staff for doing this. And I'm just so Rita, we got another 2 years to hit that average before we get our Nobel Prize. So we got a lot of work to do here.
Right.
As far as my relationship with Representative Luft, I back in 1983 and 4, I was an intern and knew his dad from back then. I interned with the state Senate, so that's how far back my family goes with the Luft family. And it's worth noting that Mark's dad was a Democrat and Mark's a Republican, so he is like bipartisan by blood, even. So, no, but all of us believe in you do what's best for the community, right? And to Mark's point, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. Rita knows that. It's like you do what's best for your community. And so, to all of those who tuned into this, everybody that you have on your screen here, we are committed to serving you. Anytime I go into any place when I'm back home, I always say, you are my boss. And that is my message to the community. I don't report to the Speaker of the House. I don't report to the President of the United States. I don't report to anybody but the people who we represent. So I give you my word. I'll do everything I can, work my very hardest all the way through the last day that I'm in Congress. And I know that Mayor OLLI and Representative Luft feel the same way. And so thank you again for the opportunity to spend a little time with you. We're a phone call away, an email away. Anything that you need us to know about, please feel free to share at any time. Thank you, everybody.
As I tell my Bradley students, public service is about serving the public. And that may not sound very profound, but it really is at the heart. And I know the three of you all have a true heart for serving the public, and they are the bosses. And so greatly appreciate all of you taking time this morning to be on this AARP Illinois Legislative Town Hall meeting. And with that, I guess we'll sign off, and everybody have a great day, great rest of your week, and good luck out in Washington, D.C. getting all that important stuff done, Congressman Bustos. So fingers crossed. All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good
Thanks, everybody.
day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.